Welcome back to Overtime here on WOTM. The Atlanta Braves creeping back up the National League East standings. They took 2 of 3 from the Washington Nationals and 5 of 6 overall. They're second place right now in their division. Mark, you've always done a great job crunching the numbers with this team. They're back above 500, 57 wins overall. The only team in this division with a positive run differential at plus 65. What do you make of this short run here by the Braves as they kind of make their way back to where they thought they would be at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, we've said all year that the Braves needed to find their level, and they had some problems with their bullpen early on, and their starting pitching wasn't going as long into games as it is now, and we're starting to see the effect of that. But also, it gave false hope to teams like the Mets and I think the Phillies, and you saw the Mets benefit from playing a lot of games over a long period of time because of all the rainouts and everything, so they didn't have to have the exposure that the Braves bullpen had early on. You're starting to see that now, which is why you're starting to see the September or August swoon that the Mets get into,
right.
Like they did. I remember in 2007, they blew a 7.5 game lead with 17 games left. So this isn't that big of a collapse compared to that. But also, the Mets usually don't rise to the occasion against either the Phillies or the Braves. So the Phillies manhandled them this weekend. Zach Wheeler very dominant yesterday. And I think that over the course of the rest of the season, the Mets are really struggling with their bullpen and their starters and injuries, things we see every year for the Mets that they never get over, injury problems. Until they address that, the Mets are going to continue to struggle. This is what it was going into the week. The Mets had a 4-game lead over the Braves, 4.5 over the Phillies. You look at now, the Mets are 2.5 games. Having you lose 6 games over 7 days is amazing. I don't know. I'm talking about the amazing Mets. But that's what happened to them. They're not hitting. They're not pitching. Stroman and Walker, 2 of their best pitchers before the break, only have 1 combined win since the middle of June. No DeGrom, no Syndergaard, no Conforto who's struggling. And now they play 13 of the next 16 against the Giants and the Dodgers.
Right.
Bye-bye, Mets.
Exactly.
They're over. Now, the Braves are, without Acuna, are still winning. They went out and they get Duvall, who's had 2 homers, 8 RBIs since his acquisition. Rodriguez, which shores up that bullpen, though there's still a little questions with their bullpen. I like their bullpen better than Phillies, which thinks they're going to close with Ian Kennedy. That's not going to work.
Right.
Kennedy doesn't miss many bats. You need your closers to miss bats. If they think they're going to win games with Kennedy in September, they're not. The Braves are the best team in this division. You can tell by their run differential. And I think overall, as the season ends, the Braves will take over the Phillies and wind up winning the National League. It's something that everybody thought was going to happen when the season started anyway.
Exactly. Let's take a look at some of the offensive production numbers that you've crunched as far as Atlanta as it compares to the other 2 teams in the division. You're seeing part of the reason why they're playing so well. It's not necessarily because of great defense. They're playing good defense, but the offense has really picked up.
Mm-hmm. The offense picked up, so is the Phillies. Now, it helps when the Phillies are playing the Nationals and the Mets, okay?
Right.
But the Braves, too. The Braves are starting to hit a little bit better. They hit about 280 this week of runners in scoring position, which is a lot better than they were hitting before. So I think as that improves and you start to see the production out of Duvall, out of Rosario, out of Soler, 3 big pickups. I mean, that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to get numbers at the deadline. I remember in 2015, the Mets made a move where they got Kelly Johnson, and they got a couple other guys that fit in pieces around the team. Not huge guys, but enough guys to fill out their lineup. That's what Atlanta did. Mets wanted to win the division in 2015. The Braves, I think, because of that, they have the luxury of putting out guys if they get injured. They have guys to replace them. And who else would lose their best player and still find a way to be the best team in the division? That's because Atlanta's resourceful. They're a winning organization, and they figured out how to make the best of this situation and still make the postseason when a lot of people didn't think they did. They're better than both the Mets and Phillies. You'll see that how their bullpen develops with Rodriguez as the season moves on.
Exactly. And to be fair to the defense and to be fair to what they are doing as far as preventing runs, they have a couple of pitchers, Drew Smyly and Charlie Morton right now, that are really, really tearing it up for this squad and really kind of help propel that offensive unit.
We're talking about 2 of the guys that they needed to produce. Once, Smiley's, not Smyly, they've had some injuries. Soraka's been out for the year. And a couple of the other starters, Ian Anderson's been hurt. They haven't added production that they normally get. Fried's been kind of inconsistent. Morton and Smyly have really stepped up. 10-1 over the last 19 starts, 2.69 ERA, 1.1 WHIP, and they've beaten good teams. These are two guys. Morton's a guy who's 37 years old, a veteran who's been to the postseason, knows what it takes to win. Smyly, a rookie. Two guys coming from different sides of the spectrum. But we've seen Atlanta pitchers, young pitchers especially, answer the call when they needed to down the stretch. I think that's what Smyly's doing right now.
Exactly. We'll keep an eye on it as the Atlanta Braves continue to make their march forward. As Mark said, they're playing well right now. Still have some work to go. Right now, number 2 in the NL East standings. Well, coming up next here on Overtime, we will talk a little bit more football as it relates to Jacksonville State and high school football in the preseason. Also a great showing in Tokyo. We'll have it all coming up next.
That was good.